Ladies and gentlemen, the time is finally here. The first ever episode of the Fortnight Show, starring me as your host, iiiSAndman. It's been a long time in the making, and I'm glad to say we finally arrived at the point where I can introduce my first guest. It is with massive honour and massive excitement that I introduce this man. He is an absolute legend in the Fortnite competitive subreddit scene. He is a legend at making insane analytical and educational VOD reviews, and more recently we know him as the swaggiest caster out there. Everyone give it up for Ballatw. Oh, nice to meet you, Bala. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
I'm excited.
I want to get you to see if you can shoot a 3. First go. Let's see if you can shoot a 3 before
Oh, wow, okay, alright.
Pressure.
Alright, let's see. I gotta go through my emote wheel. Here we go.
Can you do it, ladies and gentlemen? Oh!
Airball, no!
Super close. Unfortunately, let's get that off the stage. Go on, take a seat. Oh, it's gone for the second shot. That's worse than the first one. It was worth a try. Welcome to the Fortnite Show, man. I appreciate you so much for coming on once again, my dude. I just want to kick things off first of all by saying, who is Ballatw in real life? So how would your family and friends describe you? Where are you from? What was your upbringing like? Give us a little snippet into the IRL Ballatw rather than the in-game Ballatw that we all know.
Yeah, I'm Arton in real life. I'm 28 years old. I live at home with my wife. And I basically am just somebody who loves games, loves all sorts of things on playing computer, and then also, you know, my hobbies include like sports, basketball specifically, although I can't shoot shots clearly.
Virtually anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I've been doing this for a little while now, but before that I was an electrical and computer engineer, and I worked for that career for about 3 years before moving into this. So
nice. That actually leads on to one of my questions I was going to ask a little later on. But before we get into that, actually, where does your name stem from? So your actual name is Arton, as you just said, but where does Bala come from? And does the TW stand for something, or like what does your name actually mean? Your in-game name?
Yeah, so Bala, because I used to play basketball all the time. I used to be the young Bala.
You're literally a baller.
When I was like literally 13, I was the young Bala. I dropped that because, you know, I can't be young anymore. So you know how old I am.
The old baller. We're the same age, by the way. Great age.
Yeah, great age indeed. And then the TW came from Counter-Strike. I used to follow some pros in CS who had TW at the end of their name, and then when Bala was taken, I would toss it on the end of my name on the accounts. So Twitch was like that. Bala was taken, so I put TW on the end, and it's stuck since, and it's part of my brand. So I gotta come up with a cool thing for it to be. But for now, it's just TW. Just like doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I mean, it flows because it's your brand, so it is sweet. So what's your actual literal earliest memories of gaming, and then what are your most vivid early memories of gaming?
Probably playing some of those like old CDs on PCs where it's like the top 200 games or 200 best games or something like that, where it literally has a list of 200 like MS-DOS games, and plug that in the computer. It's like, you know, Duck Duck Goose, like some weird stuff, like
8-bit games.
Yeah. Some real 8-bit games, and then things like Lost Vikings and stuff like that. So that's my earliest memories. I don't really remember anything, but I just know that happened.
Yeah, you remember the feeling of playing those games.
Yeah, exactly. And then what was my most vivid memories? Probably playing. I lived in Djibouti, and we got an N64, and that was like console. You know, like 2 years after it came out. Well, no, we also had an NES, but that wasn't really vivid. When we got the N64, we got Duke Nukem, and that was like, we played that game for hours with all the cheats you could have, and like 4-year-old me or 5-year-old me or whatever was insanely into it. Yeah, and then
that's one that had a lot of swear words, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, so many.
Insanely gory. I remember that game.
Yeah. Monsters all over the place. There's strippers and stuff like that. Definitely not a child-friendly game, but you know, whatever.
Those are the days. What about GoldenEye?
Nobody listens to those. ESRB ratings anyways. Yeah, GoldenEye came after.
Spent hours on
And then there was also StarCraft. That was like my first multiplayer experience, I think. Where we got the CD. One of my friends had the CD. We tried to, install it on both computers and play against each other, and then we learned how to set up a LAN on UDP. Like it was pretty wild. It never worked almost, but we played a couple games, and that's when I fell in love with multiplayer.
Nice.
Just that experience.
So I mean, you've kind of already touched on this, but what were your other favorite hobbies other than gaming growing up? And obviously basketball, you mentioned being the young baller. Was there any other peak interest that you had growing up that you used to do a lot of or get involved with?
Yeah, I used to program a lot. I used to make my own websites.
Wow.
And mostly they were just like little fan websites. Like I made a website about Dragon Ball back in Djibouti, back when I was doing all this stuff too. That was when I was 6 maybe.
When you were 6? Holy.
Yeah.
Child genius.
Yep.
Programming or
not really. It was so that back then it was just like a program that you could make websites on, but I learned HTML really quickly from that. And then Neopets came around, and then I really got into programming because it was like make your clan website or whatever. And from there, the rest is history. Now I'm an engineer.
Wow. Yeah, it just really flowed nicely for you. Again, yeah, this is a question that I have pre-prepared, but I'm kind of understanding it now. Like you've kind of answered it with your whole engineering side of things. But one of the things I always wondered since I discovered you, I think I discovered you from this the competitive Fortnite subreddit. But I always wondered where your whole analytical side came from. Is there something in particular that pushed you or sort of interested you in creating like these VOD reviews and educational side of things? Like you see the game differently and you open a lot of people's eyes up to the game in ways that we wouldn't have normally thought about. So where did that keen interest come from, I guess?
I think it's just being competitive and playing competitive games. I've been playing those forever as well. Starting with Counter-Strike in like 2002 and StarCraft, I guess. I just always wanted to learn how to be better and I guess to beat my brothers and stuff like that. So I always looked up guides, I always looked up stuff, and then when it came to Counter-Strike, the real competitive game that I first started playing, or at least I started treating it that way because obviously StarCraft is very competitive, but Counter-Strike came around and we had leagues, and from there on it was like I need to watch every single one of the best players in the world so that I can learn from them, and that's I think where it really took off. I was into it because I was leading teams and stuff like that, so it became
so you
led by me.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so you already had that drive to just learn as much as you can to become better and better. Were you that guy when back in the day when you had to play multiplayer games with a family or friend locally on a TV? Were you the one that was always the best as well?
Probably like GoldenEye and stuff like that, and some of the shooters. I think my reign of being the best on console games and split screen multiplayer was after Halo. After Halo for a bit, when we got our Xbox, I stopped playing. I just started playing PC, and I didn't touch a controller for years. And then we like had some Halo LAN parties. It was like, okay, well now your skill is all gone.
Nice. Oh, so you really went to the master race quite early then, compared to a lot of people. That's interesting.
Yep.
So, Fortnite. When did you first discover it, and do you remember what your first feelings and impressions were when you came across it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Was playing CS, and I was always telling my friends, hey, like I want to find something else to play because I'm getting a little frustrated with the experience of playing competitive without having a team that I'm pushing for, because I didn't have time to really grind at that point. My friends were like, you should check out Fortnite. And at the time I was playing Rust, and I was trying to convince them all to play Rust. They're like, it's just like Rust, man. And I looked at it and I was like, this does not look anything like Rust, and it's a battle royale. I hate battle royales, and this game looks like a cartoony mess. It looks stupid. I don't know how I could play this. So I didn't play it for like 4 months.
Really negative impressions at first.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't negative. It was just I just thought it wouldn't be for me, right?
Yeah.
But that was clearly wrong, because 4 months later, we finished the CSGO season and the SCA season, and we're like, okay, let's try something. And we hop on Fortnite, we get a squad going, and we win our first game, And then from there, I literally have not missed a day of playing, basically, except on like weekends and stuff where I actually have to do stuff. If I can play, I've played.
So that was the addictive juice there, just getting that win, getting that buzz with the squad.
Yeah, I don't know if it was that or just like the feel of the game. I love the movement. It felt like an old like Quake game for me, at least a little bit. Building aspect was like so sick right away. I was like, wow, I can build ramps. I can build a base here. I can get on this hill and like, it's so cool.
Yeah,
so
it's just such
so many different things.
Exactly, it was just so interesting and different compared to anything else that I guess gamers had ever seen. Alright, let's say it's time we go into our first mini game. We're gonna stay right here for this. This mini game was actually created by one of my viewers, so shout out to JK for this idea. It's like a Fortnite rendition of Snog, Marry, Avoid, which is quite a popular talk show game if you ever come across that. But the Fortnite version is going to be called Versus, Duo and Eliminate. So Versus is essentially going to be people that you sort of see as competition. You want to play against them in a 1v1 build battle or kill race, however you see fit. You want to learn from them or better yourself, or you just want to show off and be like, look, I'm better than you, I can beat you in whatever, a 1v1 build battle and whatnot. Duo is someone who you see as a very good player. You want to play with them, you want to be able to get plenty of dubs with them. And then Eliminate is someone who you just don't see fit to play with or against, so you're just straight up eliminating them. So I'm going to give you a whole list of people, and then you tell me which one you'd want to, verse, duo or eliminate. Starting off with your fellow casters: Sundown, Monster D-Face and Golden Boy.
Okay, these three: Sundown, Monster D-Face and Golden Boy. The verses. And then there's Eliminate, and then there's, what was the other one? Duo?
Yeah.
Interesting. I think I would verse, Monster? I don't know. I think it'd be Monster. I think we do a lot of the same stuff, and it's really fun, bouncing ideas off of him and stuff. So we compete quite a bit, but we also learn from each other, and so with that we grow a lot, I believe. And then who would be Duo? I think Duo would be Golden Boy.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Not because we get a lot of wins, but just because I think we'd have a great time, because he's a local treasure and a national icon. So
fair. So you're eliminating Sundown.
Yes, sir. I'm eliminating Sundown.
Sorry, Sundown. You are out of here. Alright, next up is Dr. Lupo, Courage, or Ninja. Also kind of fellow casters.
Right. I'm definitely versing Dr. Lupo. 100%.
Oh, okay.
100%.
Is there some secret beef there?
Oh yeah, every time we play or every time we're like setting up an event and there's PCs for us to play while we're doing rehearsals, we end up fighting each other on the BR that they set up, and it's 2-2 right now, so we got to keep it going.
Okay. Yeah, you definitely got to find who's going to be the winner.
Yep. And then I would duo with Ninja and eliminate Courage.
Whoa. Courage.
That was really easy for me. I don't know why.
That was super easy. Courage. You're not worth his time, okay? You're worth all his time.
I mean, it's just like duoing with Ninja versus duoing with Courage.
No,
I don't know if you saw the game that Courage played on the World Cup, but oof. No, I'm just kidding. I love Courage. He's awesome.
Yeah, no,
such a nice guy.
Alright, this last group of people are some of the best, I guess, celebrities from the Pro-Am. Well, quote unquote best. Marshmallow, RL Grime, and Xavier Woods.
Alright, I'm definitely duoing with RL Grime. There's no real other answer. If you're not putting RL Grime for that, then you're probably going to lose the Pro-Am.
Fair statement.
And then I think
Mr. Two-Time.
I would eliminate who would I eliminate actually? I'd eliminate Marshmallow.
Oh.
And I would play with I would versus Xavier Woods because it's really it'd be really fun to go against Xavier Woods because, you know, of all his self-proclaimed goodness and trash talk. It makes it fun. It makes it interesting. But Marshmallow's got to get out of here because he takes too much attention, you know?
Fair enough. See you later, Marshmallow. That's interesting though. Xavier Woods. This man wants to verse you. What about in real life? He might call you out in the wrestling.
No. I want to do I'm sorry. I said anything.
Alright, that's the end of Versus Duo Eliminate. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. And we've got Ballatw TW with us. And yeah, we've got some more questions for your boy. So, comp scene. Now I've realised from the earlier questions that you've played a lot of comp in other games, so kind of got a bit of a better idea of this. But Fortnite wise, I did want to find out how you actually got into the comp scene. I do remember seeing you play in the summer skirmish, right? So I guess a side question is, how was it playing in that? Because that was one of the first real Fortnite led events.
I got into comp because I watched the Ninja Vegas event. I knew there was a comp scene, but I was like, there's no way that this game could actually be comp. And then I watched Ninja Vegas. I was like, whoa, okay, this game could really, really be comp. Like, this is crazy, and it's very, very interesting. And there's players who are making it to the end every single time. So that was my first, like, realization that, yeah, this game could be comp. You could play this game seriously. And from then on, I've been scrimming ever since. And I ended up playing in Twitchcon, actually, the end of the fall skirmish, not the summer skirmish.
Oh, that was a duo one, was it, right?
Yeah, it was great. I loved the entire experience at TwitchCon. I played with my duo partner Bumpa, and we went in, like, our goal was not really anything tournament related. It was actually to make a name enough to join the practice Discord so that we could play harder and get better, because what we were doing before we thought was worse, but it turns out that it wasn't necessarily even then. But for me, the goal was to become somebody that people would trust, right? People would see his content and be like, wow, okay, that was the guy who played at TwitchCon. Yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
That's actually funny you say that. That was my because I remember seeing your name from the comp Reddit, right? You writing stuff on there, some analytical stuff on there. Then yeah, when I seen you actually playing, I was like, well, he can actually play as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I guess following on from that, you transitioned from a comp player to what I guess most people probably know you as now, is on being a part of that casting team. So what was your reaction when you first got asked, whether it was an email or a phone call, however it was? What was your reaction, your feeling?
Yeah, it was a DM from Sundown, so maybe I should take back my elimination.
Okay.
It was a DM from Sundown, and I had like talked to him a little bit at TwitchCon, so I met him a little bit, and so I just DM'd him. I said, hey, I'm trying to get into casting, so my name is officially in the hat. And he's like, okay, cool. And then a week later, he DM'd me, and I was like, oh my God. I called my wife immediately. It's like, babe, it actually might happen, because this was the end goal for me, was being a caster, like being on the desk.
Okay.
And I was using TwitchCon. I was using creating content with educational stuff. Not that I didn't like that stuff. I love doing educational content. But casting was the end goal. At least being an analyst was an end goal, like an analyst on the show. Because of all my experience with other esports, I knew that was something that I could do, and I was interested in doing it. So I just went for it, got the DM, and I freaked out. And then the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, life-changing, I guess. The life-changing DM right there.
Yep, exactly. It was a week after I went full-time. So I was like, full-time. My plan was, after 6 months, if I don't have these certain numbers, if I'm not doing this well on Twitch and YouTube, or I haven't scored a gig or anything like that, then I'll go back to engineering. So I went full-time in January, and literally a week later, I was invited to do Secret Skirmish.
Wow. That's amazing. That's actually amazing. And just as a viewer, I've literally watched all of the events besides the more recent FCS stuff. I haven't watched any of those yet. But yeah, as a viewer, it's amazing to see people like yourselves, people like Sundown, who, at least from my perspective, didn't feel like you guys were looking too comfortable at first on the casting side of things. And just seeing the way you've both, in particular, you've grown as I guess the events went on. Like you've all found your own characters and yourselves, and in the way you talk or the way you approach the camera and your body language and things like that. Like the development's so I guess, inspiring to see. And yeah, you guys are all definitely a strong knit crew, and it's always fun when a new event comes. So yeah, do you feel the same? Do you feel that sort of sense of development over the courses of the events?
Oh, absolutely. If I didn't, then I think I'd be doing it wrong. It's a huge goal of mine to improve and be the best that I can. I want to try to be one of the best casters in Fortnite and esports in general. So constantly trying to get better. Even back at Secret Skirmish, that was kind of like in my head, right? That was a little different. That was a event where we really literally practiced for 2 weeks. So it was different than just hopping into it and just going for it. So I was a lot more nervous there because it was all that 2 weeks of practice. It was like, okay, well, this is the time where it's like yes or no, you're going to be coming with us for World Cup and stuff like that. So a lot more nerves there, but as soon as I got through it, it worked out. So I don't think I was nervous during the casting, but a lot of people saw me on the analyst stuff like scuff a little bit. But from there, I don't think I ever really feel nervous anymore. Even at World Cup, for example, I didn't feel nervous at all. I just
it was natural.
Tried to do the best I could.
Yeah,
thanks, man.
It definitely all felt very, very natural. Yeah, and it was great to see, and especially like you're saying, those segments that they give you, being able to break down the plays and stuff, just fits right into your forte of what you do as a creator anyway.
Yes, it does.
So you kind of answered one of my next question there, but yeah, well, one of my thoughts or one of my questions were where you actually hope to see yourself in a year's time and how you see Fortnite fitting into that. So I mean, you kind of touched on the fact that you do want to continue casting from Fortnite and beyond in esports and things, but how about immediately in a year? Have you set milestones or what you want to do, what you see yourself doing next year, for example? Will you be at the next World Cup? Will there be a next World Cup at this rate with all these changes?
I definitely think there's bigger and better things for sure. Epic never stops. Obviously, I don't know any information, but I would expect more. And yeah, I want to be there. I definitely want to be there in a year from now. I want to be, taking those bigger casting roles, right? I don't want to be sitting on the sideline when Battle Royale comes out and there's actually millions of dollars being given out, because I feel like my entire goal is to try to improve the spectating experience for Battle Royales and Fortnite, and specifically, like, I think this can be competitive. I think people can enjoy watching. And I think the audiences are there. It's just a frustrating experience overall for them to watch a competitive Fortnite match right now. Not necessarily because of anything in the game, but just the way that we watch and the way that we go about telling stories. So I want to change that. Those are my year goals, right? I want to turn Fortnite, at least competitive Fortnite, into something that everybody's like, wow, this is competitive. Wow, that was crazy. Like these moments that never leave you. I want to create those.
I can definitely appreciate that. I guess from a production standpoint, especially when they showed like the behind the scenes, I can imagine how sort of scary and tough of a job that is to create those storylines that you talk of at these events, live especially, trying to find the best moments for the viewers and whatnot. Yeah, tough task. Yeah,
there's 100 players in a battle royale, so just think about that. We have to track every single one of those, and any one of them can fight each other. Right.
Exactly.
So the head-to-head aspect is there, but it's very difficult to track and realize, right? Because there's no tools for us to see how many times they fought or whatever, anything like that. We have to kind of do that ourselves in the casting end, but that definitely could be improved in the spectating client, for example, and then just standings in general. Yeah, it is a tough one with how many perspectives we're tracking and how many stories we're trying to tell.
Yeah, I could definitely appreciate that. I'm definitely super excited as a viewer to see how those changes come about and sort of how this progresses going into the next events as they come up. Mini-game time! Number 2. Yes. We'll head on over here. Next game right here is going to be Volt or Unvolt. So I'm going to list things.
Ooh.
And I'm going to give you like literally your first 1 second thought that comes to your head, whether you want to vote that item or unvote that item. Obviously some of these are already unvoted, some of these need to be voted potentially. Whatever your thoughts are, first thought that comes to your head, flash questions, give me your answers, and you ready to go?
Yes sir.
3, 2, 1, bounces.
Unvolt, 100%.
Planes.
Vault. Keep it in the vault.
Heavy sniper.
Vault.
Ooh. Silent Scar.
Don't care. Unvault.
ATK or Quad Crasher.
Unvault. Both.
Infinity Blade.
Keep vaulted, bro, forever. Never bring it back.
Don't talk about it. Turbo building.
Yeah, seriously. Turbo building.
In the sense of what they just did.
Unvault, please. Keep it unvaulted.
Yeah. Pineapple on pizza.
That's an unvault for me, man.
Feel you. Drum shotgun.
Drum shotgun is a vault. Get it out of here.
The Fortnite dev team. Sorry. This is off the back of the latest controversy.
Come on, bro. You can't give me that. All the devs at Epic are amazing. Yeah, this is definitely a no comment.
No comment. Yeah, no, I feel you on that one. And that's the end of that one. We're back, ladies and gentlemen, for the final section. Yeah, so this year took place, last month in fact, was one of the biggest events in esports history. The biggest prize pool ever. The biggest thing Fortnite's ever done, and one of the most anticipated things we as viewers were all excited to witness. And you, Mr. Baller TW, was a part of that. How did it feel?
A dream come true. I never ever thought I would be on a stage of that magnitude, with that much attention on it, and yeah, be a part of the show itself, right? That's insane to me, and it was such a good show that I'm so happy and proud and lucky and blessed to have been a part of it.
For me as a viewer, considering how much was going on and how many different types of Fortnite was going on from the creative and pro-am and whatnot, it was amazing. I loved watching all 3 days, to be honest, and yeah, I think the team did a fantastic job. So
you watched the creative? I haven't actually talked to many people who watched the creative. I'm curious how you liked it.
Oh yeah, I mean, me as a creator, I do creative stuff. I always play on random creative maps, so that's what I do as a content creator. Or I make some of my own, like this place. So yeah, I had to watch the creative. I couldn't not watch it. I really enjoyed it. It was very, very interesting for me to see creative on the forefront like that. It was exciting for me. Just the thought that could be anyone there, like just a kid at school or someone who hates their job and they're just really good at a death run or really good at finishing like a puzzle map, and they're there on the stage, like and yeah, I like the format of it, the fact that they built all these unique creative maps for those competitors to compete on. Some were, I guess, more engaging than others to watch, especially the Junkyard Juke, was it called?
Junkyard Juke, yep.
Yeah.
The second map that they did.
Yeah, the second.
Yeah, that one was tough. The prop hunt style is definitely not something that's interesting to watch, I think.
Yeah. Then the World Run was obviously,
but I'm glad they tried it.
Engaging. Yeah, exactly. The World Run was obviously the most fun and thrilling to watch.
Oh my goodness. Like, that was honestly stressful. One of my highlights from the entire weekend was that final moment. Those World Run moments were so much fun. They were so intense.
Yeah, they were gripping.
I feel like a lot of people missed that, so it sucks. Because that everybody was like, oh, it's creative, I'm going to tune out, because everybody's expecting to watch Battle Royale. I think that's a mistake that people have been making, both Epic and others, in running their events that nobody necessarily, like, everybody is hyped for Battle Royale, but there's also people who are excited about creative, but clearly not as much. But if you had it as its own event, it would be so much more exciting, because people would be watching just for that, right?
Exactly. Overall, this is probably a super hard question, but what was your favourite moment from the World Cup? Whether that be an actual moment in game during the competitions, obviously you mentioned creative being a highlight, anything backstage and things like that. What was some of the pivotal moments that were really, I guess, stuck with you?
Booga's first win. I was rooting for that guy from the beginning, and the way that he just dominated that first game. With, what was it, 7 eliminations? Yeah, 7, I think it was 7, and then winning, and then seeing his reaction, like, wow, okay, I just did that, like, wow, I'm actually gonna win the World Cup. That was clearly going through his head at that point. And that was my favorite moment. And also the battle in that game, that entire game was so much fun, because King, that was the rise of King, right? He also got, like, I think he got 9 eliminations or something like that, something ridiculous.
Including TV and everyone.
Yeah, that came later in, I think, game 3, but
it was
no, game 2 was the one that he did that stuff.
But yeah, just the
But
aggression
still, like
of
that
him.
was when he had his like that was the first time anybody saw him, right? There's so many people that were like, "Oh, King is crazy," but nobody watched the Brazil region. Nobody watched this 13-year-old kid from Argentina. And when he started popping off, there was a couple people who were like, "Oh, this is it! Like he's actually doing it!" Like I knew it, and that was awesome. So that entire end game sequence, right, where it's like, "Wow, I'm so happy for King." He gets second place in total points, and then Booga winning the game, and like you can see his reaction, where like it's foreshadowing that he's going to win the tournament. Was awesome.
It's just a phenomenal event all around. So casting, you've been doing it for numerous events now, and it's essentially the same casting crew that you have been working with. So from, I guess, the Monster D Faces, the Golden Boys, the Kitty Plays, the Dr. Lupos, you've got this whole little casting crew family that you've been around for a long time. And I just wondered, is there any bad habits or nuances that you've picked up from your fellow casting crew members that annoy you or annoy the other members? I can imagine Sundown just whipping his hair back and forth into people's faces and such.
I think all the habits that we have, there's nothing like obviously bad about anybody that is doing anything. There's no annoying habits or anything like that outside of like when I'm listening to casting. I think every single one of us say absolutely way too much. We say absolutely amazing, absolutely incredible, absolutely fantastic, absolutely wonderful. Or we agree with each other by saying absolutely, literally every single one of us. But besides that, I don't think there's anything that's like habits that annoy me. There's no playful habits, anything like that. We're just I love those guys. They're awesome. Every single one of them are super cool and engaging and approachable.
Yeah.
So
no bad habits to spill then.
No, not yet. Not at this time.
Alright. So yeah, you've been doing this casting thing for Fortnite with Epic for quite a while now. It's been best part of this year. So I was wondering, what are the best and the worst things about being a caster for Fortnite? And also, Loki, do you get free V-Bucks?
Definitely no free V-Bucks. And I definitely have some really, really, really good memories from casting. And what I think the best thing of casting with Epic is just the raw amount of reps, we call them reps, like repetitions we get at doing things, and during rehearsals, and entire secret skirmish process was literally just to grind and get better. I don't think any esports besides maybe League of Legends has done that. So I think that's the highlight and the best part about working for Epic.
Nice. And what about the worst side? It's always the dark side.
The traveling. During World Cup qualifiers, it was I did 6 weekends of that, and I live in the Northeast US, and I flew out to LA pretty much every other week.
Okay,
and that's where the studio is. Yep.
How long's that flight?
It was
like 7 hours or something. What is that?
It's late. Like, yeah, it's about 6 hours, right in between 6 hours.
Fair enough. Wow, yeah, I can imagine that getting tiring every single weekend, the back and forth. Do you usually take your wife and stuff with you as well, so you can chill a little bit, or is it too full on?
She came out twice, but nah, she has her own work, so she can't interrupt that too often. But she did come out twice.
Fair enough. Nice. I guess you were probably happy about the actual World Cup being a bit closer to home then.
Oh, absolutely. That was literally a 20-minute flight.
It's a breeze. All right, so that's it for my actual questions. But I thought, being as you are sort of a pivotal member of the Fortnite competitive subreddit, it was important for me to ask that community, whether they had any questions for you. So there is a thread out there that I can link you to, and you can go check out yourself for any questions that I don't mention here if you wanted to. But these are some of the ones that I picked out that I thought I'd ask you from the people. So the first one is from Sylvain, and they said, what are your thoughts on double comms? So when people, of course, do call outs 2 to 3 times, do you think it's beneficial or is it distracting for their teammates?
Yeah, Sylvain, I think OC has a thing with double comms, and it's very good, actually, in my opinion, right? To make sure that everybody hears things, even triple in some cases, right? To me, if a comm is not acknowledged, then you need to say it again. So I think it's good. I think you should obviously try to lessen that so that everybody's hearing each other on the first time. But there's a thing called selective hearing where not everybody's going to hear everything that you say. So you can't, especially in Fortnite where there's crazy hectic audio, there's crazy hectic things that you need to be tracking of. So there's no chance of me hearing every single thing my teammate says. Double comms are good until I acknowledge that I heard it. You can assume that I didn't hear it.
What about in the style of like Mongrel and Mitro? Is screaming down 5 or 6 times.
I mean, it works for them, right? It works for them.
Honestly, it's one of the most entertaining things for me, I find. Just when they're screaming down with their comms, I love it. But yeah, it definitely works. So I think it definitely depends on who you're playing with as well, right?
The thing about Mongrel, Mitro, and now Benji's really getting that style of calling too is like it's less so about information and more about like getting hype and getting like the pressure off and like I don't know, just performing the moment. You know how many times they call their opponents like they're not good, right? They say this is the freest elimination in the world. Yeah. And that's just a confidence booster. It's like, yo, we should win this. We should win this, and it works. And I've tried that style of comms. It's not something that I totally enjoy, but it is fun sometimes, and it does boost my confidence.
It's just literally that morale booster, like you're saying. That's interesting, actually. That's a whole psychological element to it. So next question's by Varuna, and they said, Baller, why do you drip so hard all the time? So you're the swaggiest caster of them all.
Oh boy, you can thank my wife for that. I have nothing to do with the drip.
She just lays it out.
Absolutely
picks the fit.
No, it's funny because at the start of this whole process, like I didn't really care fashion or style at all. But as time went on, I was like, hey, I need to start looking good on camera. So I was like, hey, what should I do? And my wife was like, yup, I'm excited. You get to look what I want you to look like. So easy. It's easy.
That's nice. All right, next question is by Shally504, and they say, have you got any tips to get back on the grind after a long break, seeing as there's constant changes and meta changes weekly to the game? So I've been away for around 3 weeks and I'm not sure how to get back onto it.
I'll just say, like, the game is the game at its core, no matter what. They haven't changed the core game. Sure, they may have changed things that drastically change the mechanics and some of the interactions you have, but the game is the game. You have to survive till the end. You need to position yourself. You need to go for high kills in the end game. Like, it's all the same. Play a couple games and you'll be done, right? There's not, like, when you actually think about it, there's not that many changes. You can reduce it to something that is manageable, especially when you think that the game is the game no matter what.
Just think of the core being exactly the same. So the next question is by Occupy Riverdale. Well, in fact, I remember now, he had a bunch of questions, about 6 or 7. So I've picked out like 3 of his questions. So the next few are from him. First one is, do you think duos or trios is a more viable and more viewer-friendly format for competitive?
I think in the long run, I think if you let's talk specifically about trios. I think if you support trios forever, right? If you support it for at least 3 months, then people sit and realize what are the trios that I want to be doing. The orgs even getting involved, and they make sure that they have a full, trio that's part of phase or whatever like that. Everybody gets familiar with who their favorite trios are and who their least favorite trios are and whatever. And that will make it much more engaging, much more exciting. But like off break, when you're changing everything so often and all the trios are changing, we're changing duos to trios, all this stuff, it actually makes it less engaging, right? Because solos, it's just one guy. You can just cheer for one guy. And sure, it might be hard to watch from a spectating perspective because there's 100 players now rather than 33 teams and trios. That, like, it's hard to track all the different stories. But solos is much more exciting because it's just one guy. One guy is popping off. One guy is just, and it's raw mechanical skill that's really easy to see, especially in BR where team play and tactics are much more difficult to spot out when spectating compared to a game like Counter-Strike where it's like, wow, that's very obvious that the pinch that they pulled off right there.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer, actually. Completely appreciate that. I never saw it from that perspective as well. So his next question was, what do you think about shockwaves? Do you believe they're balanced? If not, how do you think they could be balanced?
Well, they're the only mobility in the game right now, so I think they're a necessity, but I'd like to see them replaced with something else, because shockwaves are what I've been calling recently a grief item, right? There's a random element to it where somebody shockwaves and you ruin somebody else's game by accident. You might not even realize.
That's so true.
And then just the spammability of it, like, it's a frustrating item to play against. It's sometimes even a frustrating item to use.
Oh, mate.
It does reward skill to some extent when you're using it yourself, but I'm not a fan of them.
I've died to them in stupid ways so many times in late game. Ended up in the storm.
Exactly.
Just had to fly out into the storm. His last question is trap related. So would you make any changes to them at all? Do you think they're too powerful, or do you think they're good as they are?
My philosophy is like they are what they are. In my mind, they could probably be nerfed a little bit, maybe down to like 125 damage, so that you don't die to them when you have minis at least, or something like that. But yeah, the game is the game. I don't see them as a problem. Like, I can play around the fact that traps are 150, right? I just need to not go into people's boxes when I know that they could possibly have traps. Right off of early game, I'm obviously getting in, but if not, then don't go in the box. That should be very clear to a lot of people. Sure, there's people who can spam traps, but you should be able to counter that.
100%. It's definitely a lot of conversation around that. People wanting it to be 75 or wanting it to be 100, and yeah. But I agree with you. I mean, they are what they are, so you just gotta be more conscious, right? Be more conscious.
Absolutely.
That is it for the interview segment. Bala, been amazing, but now you have got to face over here what I like to call the BP run, because it is made by Blue Pumpkin, an amazing map builder. So essentially, when I hit start game on this, the timer will start ticking from that moment. So you need to run all the way here, because you will spawn outside of the studio where we spawned when we joined. Run all the way here and get active on the death run, and I'll be up high, sort of, I guess, casting you. We'll reverse the roles right here. And then, yeah,
sounds good.
You gotta try beat it as fast as you can to get high up on that leaderboard and stay up at the top of that leaderboard. Are you ready?
Ready.
Is the question.
I am.
Do you play death runs normally? Have you had to go at scissors or any of the other popular ones?
Nah, not much. I've tried, but none of my friends have played, so I am not very good, because I haven't done too many.
It's gonna be interesting.
Go.
So here he goes, the first section. And he's actually gone the correct route first time, ladies and gentlemen. I have no idea how he's just figured that out straight away. Debating the traps. Ooh. Cleared that section, but this is...
Oh no!
This is the bit where it's going to start getting tricky, my friend. I'm surprised you actually cleared this first section straight away. Usually people go right. The first entrance. Bait the first trap, bait the second trap.
What is it?
As you guys probably
boy.
yeah, he cannot see clearly where the platforms are from here, so it's covered by a music sequencer. It's almost going to be a memory game right here. Learn the pattern and repeat the pattern. Ooh.
That's difficult. I can't see the future thing. I kind of have to just guess.
That's the challenge. You gotta like do trial and error.
I might have your slowest time.
Oh, and he's made it. He's on to the next section.
I have redeploy, by the way. I don't know if that's
it's cool.
on purpose.
It won't affect this game.
Hey, I did it.
It's going to the major trap baiting section right now.
I don't know if this is correct, but I did it.
First time, you made it through.
Oh no! I shouldn't be able to read a play, right?
It's fine. It won't give you an advantage or a disadvantage.
I mean...
Oh, besides doing that. We'll skip past that. Don't worry about that, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, I don't want to do
The
that.
question is, which way is he going to go
Oh, I
now?
see.
Oh! The
No,
respawn
I'm chilling.
button.
Yeah, I did.
Goes to the final section. Psyching himself up with these jumps.
Oh, dude, I am psyching myself out. No!
He's unsure whether to do it.
Here we go.
Bounce forever, baller. You gotta go forward. Oh, and he's made it. Let's see what time he's got. 4 minutes, 42 seconds. So that is it for tonight's show. Thank you so much, Ballatw, for joining us. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, make sure you consider smashing that like button, subscribing if you're new around here. Check out my man Ballatw. All of his links will be in the description as expected. So follow him on his YouTube, his Twitch, his Twitter, everything if you're not already. And leave a comment down below who you'd like to see as the next guest. Let me know who you'd like to see next and we can try our best to get them. Hope you guys enjoyed. Ballatw, you got any last words?
Peace.
Peace.
You don't wanna mess with me. Show you how I do when I catch the beat. Show you how to groove, you can test to see. Squad fall, so I gotta mess with me. Yeah. Other niggas finished, done. This another anthem. Yeah, they don't understand now. You don't understand what? Get the fucking hands up.